Welcome, Wild. Welcome, Wildcats, to the Weber State Weekly National Signing Day Spectacular. I'm your host, Colby Peterson, and on the pod or on the broadcast today, we have with us our esteemed panel, Dustin Chapman.
Great day to be a Wildcat.
Yes, amazing. And I'd also like to welcome our guy. We're going to start calling Mel Kiper AC. AC.
No, Chap, you're wrong. It's a great day to be a Wildcat. Let's go!
Yes, it is a great day to be a Wildcat, man. Guys, we got some amazing news on Twitter today. I mean, I don't know if you guys are as jazzed as I am, but like today was just stellar. Just prospect after prospect, like just kid after kid that just impressed. And so I want to start all of this off because we've got a lot of folks that are lined up that we can talk about. We got some interviews set up for everyone, so stick around for those. But right out the gate, I want to get your initial impressions. Chappie, why don't you go first? What do you think about today's signing class?
It's at the sound of, or at the risk of sounding too hyperbolic, it's best case scenario. I don't know how this day could have gotten any better for Weber State recruiting in any way, shape, or form.
Absolutely incredible. I agree, man. Like I said, I just kept watching Twitter and I'm like, oh, that guy. Oh, that guy. Oh, you got to be kidding me. AC, what about you? What are your thoughts?
Bro, I'm telling you, it was just like bombshell after bombshell. And in the good way, though, in the best way. I'm telling you, I threw it out there on Twitter, and maybe I'm a prisoner of the moment. I'm known to be a prisoner of the moment every now and then. But I'm telling you, this looks like the best recruiting class Weber State has ever had. And I mean, we'll judge this class in 4, 5, 6 years. You got some kids going on missions and everything, but this class is rock solid and we look good. I love it.
Oh man, I agree with you 100%. Like I said, I mean, proof's in the pudding. We're going to have to see how guys play out, and some folks are going to be going on missions, of course, and so there's going to be a little bit of a delay. But just looking at what we got today, the guys that have committed to Weber State, just absolutely incredible, man. So I'm so excited to see these guys finally put on the purple and white whenever that happens, and get out there on the football field, because guys, this was really a great day. So with that, I think let's now go to, like I said, we have a number of interviews for the Wildcat fans tonight. We've got a bunch of prospects who signed today who have agreed to come on the show and talk to us for a bit about why they chose Weber State, kind of what their thought process was and what was the deciding factor for them. Because for a lot of these kids, they got a lot of very serious offers. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we got kids with Power 5 offers. We got kids with FBS offers. We got kids with other FCS schools who are in the top 10 offers. And they're passing all those up to come to Dub State because something special is happening. You got a culture here. We got winners. We got back-to-back trophies. We're going for the 4-peat coming up in the spring. Yeah, we got some kids with serious offers.
Yeah, absolutely.
To me, it feels like a turning point. I mean, up until now, the last 3-4 years of Jay Hill coaching, it seems like it's all led up to this, to where it now goes up a level. Like we're hitting a new. It's been as high as it could go for a few years, but it's like we're hitting that tier. I mean, Brian McLaughlin from Hero Sports said it the other day. Like it now feels like we are a legitimate top 5 FCS program in the country in every conceivable way.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting to finally, shift, because Jay Hill did a great job with finding guys, developing them, and turning us into that top 5 program. The stats polls and the coaches polls don't lie. And especially, like you said, AC, 3 titles in a row in the conference, now going to probably be 4 titles, so long as the Wildcats take care of business in the spring season. Like, it's finally starting to happen where it's like, oh my gosh, guys really want to come here. So let's not talk about that anymore. Let's finally bring on some of these guys that want to come to Weber State. So our first interview, we have a really special treat for the Wildcat fans tonight. We decided that since Noah Kerr and Creighton Cooper were good friends, known each other for a long time, and both had committed to playing at Weber State, we thought, why not bring them on at the same time? So our first interview for you folks tonight, we're going to be talking to those. So we're going to bring on Noah Kerr and Creighton Cooper. Guys, bring them on. We got
right now, but
wonderful. So
really see any of you guys.
Amazing. Fellas, Noah and Creighton, want to welcome you guys to Weber State Weekly. Thanks for taking a little bit of time out of your day to come on. Yeah, we can hear you, man. And so I want to welcome you guys on the show. Thanks so much for coming on tonight.
Hold on. Yeah, I appreciate you having us.
Absolutely.
No, I don't want to do that.
So, fellas, like we said in the intro, we kind of wanted to give Wildcat fans, especially, you guys are just phenomenal ball players, just absolutely incredible. And so we wanted to ask, maybe Creighton, we'll start with you, man.
Okay.
When you were, looking at all of the schools that you could go to, what drew you to Weber State most?
I think there's a couple things that kind of really made Weber State stand out to me. Obviously, the recruiting class was huge. Like you guys have mentioned, this is probably going to go down as one of the best recruiting classes of all time in Weber State history, and it's a winning program, and I think we have the type of players to. I think we really have a chance if we bring it together. We'll have a really good opportunity to make a run at a national championship, and that's the goal at any level. Obviously, is to bring back championships, and Weber State recently has been known for that, especially in the Big Sky. So hopefully we're ready to take that next step into making a push for the national championship. So I think that was one of the really big things for me, is just the winning culture. It's close to home, the recruiting class, and just there's a lot of good stuff that you can't go wrong with Weber State.
Yeah, man. Like you said, a lot going on up here, and so I also wanted to note that Creighton, your dad had played at Weber State, so you got some roots here in Ogden a little bit.
Yeah. So my dad played up there. My aunt's actually a professor up at the university, so I have a lot of family up in southern Idaho and in Lehigh and all around Utah. So it's kind of the perfect spot for. It's kind of a family-centered decision because family's huge to me. So it'll be awesome to kind of always have a lot of support at all the games, and so that was really big for me too.
Hey Creighton, so I tweeted out today after you had signed that we got the dynamic duo in Creighton Cooper and Noah Kerr, but I stole that from you because you told me first that y'all were the dynamic duo, and so I got to know who's Batman and who's Robin.
Oh, that's a tough one. I'd say Noah's probably Batman. I'll go with Robin. Noah's kind of more outgoing person. He's kind of not afraid to be himself. He's really just he's an exciting person to be around. He's super fun. He's super outgoing, and so he's kind of the more outgoing. And I'm kind of a little bit more shy at first until you get to know me. Then I kind of really come out of my shell, I guess. So I think that's how I'd put it.
Beautiful. Creighton, for fans that don't know you or that haven't seen you play yet, describe your QB style. If you want to, maybe tell us who you model your game after, but what style of QB are you, and what can Wildcat fans expect from you on the field?
For sure. I think some of the things I bring to the table as a quarterback is I think the biggest thing is I'm just a playmaker. Like I can get the job done throwing the ball. Obviously, I feel like I throw the ball really well. I feel like I have smooth mechanics, smooth footwork. Everything kind of syncs up really nicely. And then I also, I'm really good with my legs. I'm super dynamic with that. I can make plays happen when things break down. So I feel like I'm super calm with pressure in my face and all that. So I don't really like flinch if there's stuff happening around me. I just kind of stay in the pocket, look for something to open up. And if it's not there, I'm not afraid tuck the ball and run and get some yards. And so a couple of the quarterbacks I model my game after, kind of like the newer generation, I guess, like Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, and then obviously like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. Those guys are some of the GOATs. So, you know, always got to kind of honestly just watching anybody and just kind of take away as much from all of them as possible and just kind of learn as much as possible and soak it all in.
Yeah, man. I mean, like you said, those are guys that have all had a lot of success. I mean, Baker, looking what he's been able to do in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And especially, I would say that the last time Weber State really had a lot of success is 2017 with Stephen Cantwell, who was a guy who could really run. And so that's exciting to hear that, like, hey, man, I'm not afraid to, you know, tuck the ball in or, get a few yards, because there was a lot of success when Stephen Cantwell wasn't using his cannon for an arm. You know, he was running the ball, and we were able to really move the chains.
For sure.
So, Creighton, I also wanted to ask you, I mean, you, like we said, we talked about, you grew up kind of coming to Weber State, knowing a little bit about that. There's some family in Utah, but you were highly recruited by a lot of other programs, man. And so talk what that experience was like, because you got some serious offers. Walk us through kind of what it was like talking to so many different people with some serious clout and some real programs.
Yeah, no doubt. It's definitely super humbling and super grateful for every opportunity that was given to me from every school. And like you said, there's a lot of great programs, especially like you guys mentioned earlier. There was some of the top 10 FCS teams, like Northern Iowa's up there, Eastern Washington's up there, and they're near your conference as well. So they're like you guys said, there's a lot of really good programs that were really, really pushing hard on me. But I think what it came down to at the end of the day, it was just like such a crazy year with recruiting, obviously, because it's the whole COVID thing, everything shut down and all that. So I think the biggest thing is just the coaches, Coach Hammer, Coach Arsua, Coach Hill. Those were the three that were really recruiting me, because they're the ones in my area, or the ones obviously Coach Hammer's the OC and the QB coach now, so they were the ones that were on me. And so I think with them, just they're really able to connect with me and kind of get to know me and make me feel most comfortable. And I've always kind of wanted to stay close to home, so that was nice that they were able to kind of convince me to stay here instead of go out and play in Washington or out in Iowa or somewhere else. So it was awesome to be able to commit and sign and stay here locally, and hopefully bring back a championship back to Ogden in the next couple of years.
Yes, sir. He'd love to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a question for both of you. We'll start with Noah, because we haven't heard from Noah yet. So Noah, I want to know your favorite route to run, and then Creighton, I want to know your favorite route to throw.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'd say either a corner or a corner post, or just a post. Anything where you're kind of going deep is anything I like. Just going and getting the ball and scoring touchdowns.
Yeah, I'd kind of have to agree with a no on that one. We have similar routes here at Lehigh's Corner Canyon, because we both have really great coaches. So we call it a wrap post. Basically the same thing as a corner post. So just a deep post over the middle, anything deep. Like he said, lots of points, lots of touchdowns. Anything deep over the middle. So it's exciting.
Okay, so I have a question for both of you too, and maybe we can go with Creighton first on this one, and then Noah. But talk to us about the friendship. We've heard that you two are good friends and have been friends for quite a while. Talk to us about that, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah. So obviously we've been really good friends for a long time. We've been playing football and basketball and baseball. We played that together since I think like 5th grade all the way up until high school is when we split, and then I think we really grew together the most as like friends over 8th grade, because with his dad at the time being the head coach at Jordan High School, he was always up coaching their team or whatever during the summer. And so me and Noah would work out during the summers, and then we'd come back to my house, order some pizza from Domino's, and kind of just stay downstairs and watch some TV all day for a couple hours until we had practice. So it was literally like every single day in the summer of that 8th grade we hung out, and so that was awesome. We really got to grow together as friends and really build that relationship together.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. We've always been like super good friends since the start. Like, in Little League, when they started doing A-team, B-team stuff, they put me on the A-team with the new team, and I was scared out of my mind of Creighton's dad. But me and Creighton became good friends super quickly, and our chemistry was just super good. You know, we had a lot of catches, a lot of touchdowns in our youth career, and then we obviously just played baseball. We played everything together, and then we hung out like all the time. It was just a super fun experience to grow closer with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's so good, fellas, to hear that there's already that connection built because, I mean, you guys know this more than anybody. Having that kind of connection and that chemistry built up, you know, before you even step foot on a college football field is just, I mean, that's such a huge advantage. So awesome to hear you guys already have that in place. And we look forward to seeing you up at Stewart Stadium, catching bombs, throwing bombs, and just wiping the floor with anybody that shows up, man.
No doubt. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So,
Heck yeah.
So
No doubt.
Creighton Cooper and Noah Care want to thank you guys for coming on Weber State Weekly tonight, chatting a little bit about us. We'll probably be in contact in the future, but until then, go Cats.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys for having us. This is awesome.
Yeah, we'll see you.
See ya.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you guys. See ya. Go Wildcats.
Always go Wildcats.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Awesome. Man, what a couple of great kids, man, already. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know, dude. That's the 6A MVP we got right there. First team All-American and the highest rated quarterback out of high school that Weber State has ever landed. Dynamic duo's right.
Yeah, dynamic duo is right, Chappie.
It feels a lot like some other things we've seen in state, like, you know, Zach Wilson, Dax Milne type situation where from the same area, end up on the same college team, have a connection going there. That's nothing but good for this team, for those kids. That's excellent.
Yeah, I agree, man. And like I just said, you know, having that chemistry already, you know, just sweetens the deal. And you know, we didn't really ask about whether those guys plan to play immediately or if they got some delays in their life plans. But yeah, man, I mean, I can't wait for the day when it finally happens and these guys come in because we didn't mention this as much, but like AC kind of did. Like these guys are two of probably the highest. You know, we were talking a lot on Twitter tonight about the top 10 recruits in Weber State history, and these guys are on the list. So for them to be willing to put on the purple and white for Creighton, it's old hat, right? Hey, he's been playing in purple and white. All he's got to do is just switch the logo on the side of the helmet.
That's right. Yeah. So I know Noah's planning on going on a mission, and Creighton, the coaching staff has given him a little bit of time to decide. The roster spot's there if he wants it, but he's still trying to figure out what he wants to do, whether or not he wants to go on a mission. So that one's a little bit up in the air, but Noah is planning on going on a mission. And those two top 10 recruits in program history. These guys are big time. Weber State's right up there with the top, folks. It's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Like we said, Wildcats, we got a number of interviews, and so we're going to roll on to our next one. This is another really awesome recruit who's got a connection with the coaches on staff, and so we're happy to introduce you, Wildcat fans, to Jaden Ayu, who committed to Weber State about a month ago, and signed today, and so really excited, or I think he actually signed in the previous period, but really excited to have Jaden on the show. So let's roll some of that beautiful footage. So while we get that going, guys, I wanted to ask you, since we're going to bring Jaden on in just a second, what gets you most excited about Jaden coming from Orem up to Ogden?
Biggest thing for me, Jaden Ayu. Let me tell you about this kid. Jaden he's a sack artist, and he played edge rusher in a 4-2-5 at Orem, and he's just a stud. And we got him in here now, and we're super stoked to hear from him.
Happy, what about you? I mean, what gets you most excited to have Jaden on the team?
I just love the family connection.
Just like the players
like
that
I
I've
think
seen
it's Jaden's uncle is a coach on staff up at Weber, isn't that right?
Sorry, did you ask me that, Colby?
Yeah, Jaden, we're happy to have you, bro. So happy to have you here. Jaden, tell us a little bit about, your high school career. You were a superstar, right? 4-year starter on the 4-peat champs down at Orem High. How was that?
Oh, Jaden, can you hear us now?
Looks like Jaden might be having some technical difficulties.
It's live TV. This is how it goes.
Yeah, that
Jaden,
is how it goes.
Jaden, when you can hear us, let us know if you can, and we've got a couple questions for you.
So Jaden, I mean, 4-year starter on the 4-peat champs down in Orem. He played in a 4-2-5, so he was an edge rusher actually. And this guy, he just got to the quarterback all the time. 21 and a half sacks at Orem High this last year, and he was a stud. I mean, he made the All-State team in 5A, and I mean, he stood out. And Weber State wants him to come play inside linebacker, and they want him to really go downhill and be a run stopper. And so Jaden, he's another top 10 all-time recruit.
Hear you guys right now.
Yeah, we got you, Jaden. Can you hear us? Yeah, he's having a little bit issues. He's another top 10 all-time recruit at Weber State. Passed up some Power 5 offers. UCLA was in on him. Arizona State was in on him.
I hear you guys right now, but since you guys can hear me, just like introduce myself. I'm a linebacker, DN from. I've played at Orem for all 4 years of my high school career, and I won state championship with my team. And we had an exciting. It's a little bit about me. Because I used to train at this place called Joe's Formants, and I met a few of the players over there that the former players that played at Weber State, such as Adam Rodriguez and Jonah Hill, both defensive players, the culture and the team and the camaraderie that you guys have at Weber State. And they just kind of like Weber State was a good place to go. Like, and obviously they are successful players, and in the league was always one of my dreams. So
Man, it's a rough
I don't know.
night on some of these,
I just like
fellas.
the vibes that I got state.
Yeah, that's too bad. But Jaden
man.
Ayu, guys, I'm so excited to see him because our defense is already just killer. And Jaden, I'm telling you, he's a superstar. He's so good. And so this kid, he's going to bring so much to this team. He's going to bring speed and strength to this defense. And he had 21 and a half sacks his senior season. So, I mean, this guy, he's a superstar, and he's going to make a name for himself at Weber State.
Yeah, I agree, man, because I mean, we've seen the kind of what Jay Hill and the staff have been able to do with the guys on defense, right? Especially with the pass rusher. You know, we're a team that's very good at stopping the run and that gets to the quarterback, right? And that's led to a lot of success against, you know, some really top-notch quarterbacks. We've seen that in the playoffs last year, right? Where we were able to get to Dalton Snead, who was a very good quarterback, but, you know, caused him to throw 5 picks in a quarterfinal game. And that made the difference and sent the Wildcats, you know, onto the semis. So,
well, and as a player, I mean, how do you not want to play for Jay Hill as a player on that defense? I mean, they especially after watching like what Terrence Johnson did a couple weeks ago. I mean, there's so much potential there. We send guys to the league. It's such a well coached group. It's one of the top defenses in FCS year in and year out. It's a great system to be in.
Yeah, 100%. Another thing I was thinking about, fellas, was how we have some really good defensive talent that has graduated in the past couple of years, and I think it always amazes me that we have this ability to just really next man up it. And I think that's what separates good programs from great programs, is because a good program can go and find that kid who really makes the difference, and the great program is then able to put the next guy behind him when that guy eventually graduates or whatever, right? Because that's the nature of college athletics, right? There's just always this cycle. And I think that Weber State especially has done an incredible job of finding that next man, whether that's in the linebacking core or, just last year, Coach Jay Hill talked about had to break in a secondary, you know what I mean? So a lot of young guys, and, we saw those guys make a ton of plays. And so we're going to try and bring Jaden back in now and talk maybe a little bit about that. Jaden, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can.
Oh, cool,
good
man.
to be on.
Hey, that's what we love to hear.
Cool. Yeah, man. So we were just talking about how Weber has this really great ability to bring in guys, and you really kind of like, even you've got like dynamic players like Adam Rodriguez or whoever, and then those guys go on to graduate, and you still find that next dynamic guy to come in behind him. And so, talk a little bit about that. Like, does that have you excited? Like, what are you looking forward to working on most in your game to be that next man up for Weber State?
Well, like as you said, like a lot of great linebackers came out of there, and I'm just like really excited to come in because, like as you guys said, I have relation to the coach over there. The coach of my position actually over there is going to be my uncle Maddie Ayu. Me and him are really close, and he's just been like teaching me and telling me like things that I need to be ready for when I come, because I'm planning on coming there this fall to play actually. For Weber State. So I'm pumped, and I feel that I'm ready physically. I just need to get on that page like mentally and learn all the plays. And so I'm just excited to come over there and show you guys what I can do and make the Weber State team hopefully better.
Oh, we got no doubt you're going to make this team better, buddy. You're going to be awesome out here for Weber State. It's a stacked defense, and you're just going to make it so much better. So you were one of the leaders in the entire state with 21.5 sacks this last year. What's your go-to move?
Yeah.
How do you get past the offensive line?
Can you hear me? You can hear me, yeah, Chappie.
Yeah. Jaden wondered if you were able to hear that last one. Yeah. So, Jaden, can you hear us?
Yes. You're just coming in and out a little bit.
Okay. So we'll just ask AC's question there. What's your go-to move to get sacks? Because you've certainly had a lot of sacks this year.
My go-to move is definitely the jab step and then come back around with the club and rip or swim. Because a lot of the time, like I'm faster than most O-line. So you just use their momentum of going one way, and then once you get all their momentum and weight going that way, you just take a quick little step and then club them and use their momentum to get them off balance and just go straight to the quarterback.
Man.
All right.
Man, that's just
love it. Hey, Jaden, one last question. When I'm looking at the offer list, I see a lot of big name schools there. I even see a military academy. I mean, what was it about Weber State? Was it family? Was it being close to home, or was it just you just feel like the culture here is warranted you coming here? Was it a combination of everything?
It was like, as you said, there's like so many reasons to come to Weber State, and it was just like the combination of those three mainly. Staying home obviously is important to me. Like family is very important to me. The culture there is very important. Like seeing the success of a lot of guys coming out of Weber State. You guys had that one quarter that just barely got that pick in the AFC Championship, and it was like the longest one in NFL history. You have a lot of guys coming out of Weber State doing great things, and I want to be one of those guys to come out of Weber State and do great things while I'm there too. So there's just a ton of reasons to come to Weber State, and I didn't really see any reasons not to come there.
Man, those are such good words to hear, man. So, like you said, we're looking forward to seeing you make some of those moves on the field, and also just continue to get better, man, because we know talent's there. I mean, we've seen it. Like AC brought up, 21 sacks in a short season. Like, my goodness, just absolutely just a monster on the field, man. So, Jaden, appreciate you coming on Weber State Weekly tonight, man.
Okay, thank you, Colby. Thank you, Chappie. I appreciate your guys' time tonight.
Yeah, we'll see you, man.
Go Weber.
Good. Looking forward to it, brother.
All right, fellas. Now we're gonna. I think let's just keep this rolling, man, because we've got more guys in queue here, and so let's just keep the fun happening. Now we're gonna talk a little bit about. We've got in our waiting room. We've got Jalon Rock, and Jalon is coming to us from Texas. Had some pretty serious offers once again, guys. Like a couple of military academies, Navy and Air Force offered, Midstern State and Incarnate Word. but chooses Weber State. So what has you guys pretty excited about this guy?
Bro, I'm telling you, I would say that I'm excited to see him on the field, but I don't think we're going to see him because he's too fast. Guy's a blur. He's got 4.3 speed. And so you hear people, they knock on FCS. They say, well, the FCS guys aren't as fast as FBS. It's the speed's not there. No, that's bullcrap. This guy's got speed to compete in the NFL tomorrow if he wanted to. 4.3 speed, that's faster than a lot of dudes in the league. So yeah, this guy, he's going to bring the speed and he's going to take a lot of kickoffs to the house for us.
Well, and Jay Hill's built up such a great special teams culture at Weber State. I mean, it's kind of the forte, other than defense, I guess, but it's awesome. I mean, this kid's going to fit right into Rashid Shaheed's shoes and hopefully blow us away and get us some touchdowns on returns.
Right, because that's the thing that I brought up, fellas. When we saw this commitment come across on Twitter, it was like, oh my gosh, look at this man's speed. Like, he is just lightning. And I'm like, is this the successor to our man Rashid Shaheed? Because, man, Rashid Shaheed, I mean, everyone knows, like, the most dangerous man in the country when you kick the ball to him. Everyone knows it, right? So I would love to see Jalon be the next Rashid Shaheed because, man, Shaheed has been really, really great. And we've talked to him here on the show. So if that's the case, I mean, I'd love to maybe bring Jalon in and talk a little bit more to him about why he chose Weber State. I mean, Texas is a long way away from Ogden. And so let's bring him in here in just a second. Man, 4.340. My goodness. So Jalon Rock, welcome to Weber State Weekly, man.
What's up?
We appreciate you taking the time to chat with us. I know, like we said, it's pretty far away, probably home in Texas right now. We're sitting here in Ogden, Utah, but thanks for taking a little bit of time, talk a little bit about why you chose Weber State and what you're looking forward to most. So let's start with that one, man. Like, why Weber? Well, out of all those schools, I got some pretty big names on that list. Ogden, Utah, and Weber State was the pick. Can you tell us why?
Yes, sir. The coaching staff, and then the scheme that the Weber runs, I feel like it would be best for me, man-to-man coverage, and then bringing me in a return game. I think that's a great fit for me.
So, Jalon, you in your senior year, you have 5 kickoffs that you took to the crib. You took 2 of them in the same game. What's the secret here? What's the secret?
Yeah. Ever since I was little, my dad told me that when you see a first gap, just make like one cut and go. That's all I do. One cut, get straight up the field, get downhill, and you have to make them try to tackle you.
I love that, man. Make them try and tackle you. Dare them.
That's exactly it. So, Jalon, so again, I love the Metroplex area, by the way. I am a massive barbecue fan, which I 100% curated by traveling to the Metroplex and partaking of the goodness that you guys have there. So I'll have you bring some up for me.
Yes, sir.
But talk to us about that. What is the perception of Weber State in Texas, obviously the biggest football state in the country? It sounds like you worked with Coach Dale. How did that happen? How did that go from, you're in Texas, we're going to bring you to Ogden, Utah. What was that process like?
Well, Coach Dale, he said that he gonna make sure make it feel like family up there and make sure that I'm comfortable. And then me and my parents talked about it. We said that was gonna be the best fit. The family said to make sure they take care of me, and then we was already on board.
So Jalon, kicking off. Sorry, Colby. So kickoff returns, that's only a fraction of what you do because you were first team all district as a corner too. You had 3 picks and you're breaking up passes every chance you get. How do you do it?
Yes, sir. Well, my head coach in my position, because we talked all the time, and then they said that I need to make sure I can play with my speed because some people are gonna be bigger and more physical, so you got to play through the hands and everything, and don't let them just muscle you at the line.
Yeah, and so we noted in our notes in prep for the show, Jalon, that we've got a couple of key guys in the secondary that are injured, and so there's potentially an opportunity to really get in and get going early. And so I wanted to ask, as you come to Ogden and as you sort of get into the routine of being at Weber State and, you know, what the coaching staff here has to offer, like, what are you looking forward to most? Is there something in particular about the game, about the facilities, about the coaching staff? Like, what is the first thing you're going to do when you set your bag down in Ogden, Utah and say, all right, this is what I'm working on?
Well, I really like the facilities, and I like how it was like in the side of a mountain, and then like yeah, I like the weight room, the locker room, all that, and I'm ready to get lifted. And then when they want me to come in and play more inside at nickel and then field corner. Yeah, and I'm ready to start working on that and get good at that.
Yeah. So, Jalon, another thing I wanted to ask was, and we haven't really asked the guys, it's been just like bam, 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 but I feel like we finally got a little bit of time with you here. So, obviously, like Weber State's a university, and so I also wanted to ask, like, you know, thinking about college, you know, of course, that's another thing. That's another part of this, right? Like, what are you thinking about? Like, what interests you? Like, what are your interests? Like, what are you thinking you might study when you're here at Weber State?
So far I'm thinking about like sports management or like athletic training, something to do with sports, you know.
Yeah.
Sports, it's been a part of my life my whole life. I started playing football when I was 5. I went straight to pads.
Yeah. So, Jalon, I want to ask you a little bit about the moment that you decided you wanted to go to Weber State. So you got all these offers, right, from a whole bunch of different teams all across the country. Was there a single moment for you where you were just like, you know what, I'm going to Weber State. I'm gonna be a Wildcat.
I think like a couple of days before I got the offer from Weber State, my coach, he was saying like when the offers are coming in, he said they're gonna start coming in. And then Coach Dale, he kept calling me over the couple of days, and then he took us on a virtual tour and everything, showed us around the whole facilities and everything. And then I feel like that's why I wanted to make my home for the next 4 years.
That's awesome, man. Well, we really do. You can tell that the team and the coaches really do consider it a family here. So do the fans. Talk to us about your family. Tell us about your life and your family, and what Wildcat fans can hopefully see in the stands in your family over the next 4 years.
Well, I live with both my parents. I live with my little sister too, and then I have family from Louisiana and the Houston area. They always want to come up and see me play throughout the games. And then they already said that they're already ready to come fly down there and watch me play already.
Love it, and I mean this, man. Like, so, you know, Utah, we have a lot of really good looking football stadiums here. Weber State Stadium on a fall afternoon, I mean it. There's nothing better, I don't think, in the country or maybe even in the world. I mean, the visitor stand is literally carved out of the side of a mountain. You can see the sunset off to the west as we get into the third quarter, and it's an absolutely phenomenal place to take in a football game and see some quality kids out there competing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, undefeated, man. It really is. Jalon, I also wanted to ask you a little bit about, you mentioned that, you know, you took a virtual tour of the facilities and kind of got that, and that was a kind of deciding factor. But talk to us a little bit about this year. I mean, recruiting was super weird because of COVID this year, man. So, like, what was that like? Because, I mean, your class had this very, very unique experience. And so tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, we already knew that it was going to be different. And then when they said that the series could come back for another year, that we knew there's going to be limited spots. So, and of course, again, my head coach, he already, like he said, that is when you get an offer, it may be like 1 or 2 spots left. So you got to hurry up and jump on. You can't just sit around and wait on it, or you're going to lose the offer. And then you're not going to get better than what you get at first.
Yeah, so he's saying just take it. If you get a good offer at the first, take it, because it's a weird year and it's going to have repercussions into the future with scholarships and balancing how many guys you can have on a roster. Plus, it's already FCS, and yeah, man, I feel for you guys. It's got to be tough.
Yes, sir.
So, Jalon, I've been saying it a little bit today. I've been throwing this out there, saying that I think that this is the best recruiting class in Weber State football history, and you're a big part of it. How's that make you feel?
It makes me feel good. When I see your tweet earlier today when I just got home from track practice, I already told my dad, like, they said that this is the best class that ever had in history. So I said, I'm glad I'm a part of it.
Man.
Yeah, you're a big part of it, bro. And we got you on the show, right? We got a whole bunch of fans watching. So you're a big part of it, and we're super excited to have you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, like he said, like, I mean, AC, we talked about this, we talked a little bit on Twitter earlier today too about just like, man, this class of guys that decided to sign today, man, just the stars next to names and the places they were coming from and the things that they have already accomplished, like unprecedented at Weber State, a program that's already had a lot of success at the FCS level. But to take it to the next step, guys like you are coming in to just really say, all right, we want to go to Frisco. I mean, I'm sure you know all about Frisco, and that's where we want to go, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, Jelon, I'm going to wrap it up, and I want to thank you again, man, for coming on Weber State Weekly, chatting with us a little bit tonight about your game, about what makes you excited to come to Ogden. We'll be looking forward to seeing you on campus and around Ogden real soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Had a great time.
Oh, man. Thank you. We'll see you soon, dude.
Look forward to seeing you, brother.
So, fellas, I mean, the more we talk about it, the more excited I get. It's like, man, you know, like Jelon Rock, that man's just got so much speed and so much talent, you know, coming from a place like Texas. And I think they talked about this recently about how, you know, Weber State has done a good job of, you know, getting guys out of California and getting guys out of Washington and getting guys out of Idaho, you know, and, you know, but now we're starting to see guys like Jelon who've really got a lot of talent coming out of Texas. And like, how do you think that changes the program and the kinds of guys that we can get in there when you can open up a big football state like Texas?
So I liken it to what Brian McLaughlin said the other night. I mean, he was talking about NDSU, you know, recruiting into Florida and starting to get pull speed from Florida. The equivalent to that in the West is pulling from Texas. I mean, that's what it is. And so if you're able to pull kids from Texas, you're getting to another level. I've talked about it a little bit earlier, but we're raising this up another notch.
Texas is huge, bro. I mean, you got 3 huge states that produce NFL talent like all the time. It's Texas, California, Florida, right? And I mean, when you're dipping in Weber State's position, geographically our position, right? You're right between Texas and California. That's a pretty good spot to be in. And when we're getting guys like Jelon Rock, we're getting guys like Damon Bankston coming out of Texas. Like, these are big time dudes. These are big time dudes who are making this, like, they're making this program special, right? And hats off to Coach Dale. He killed it in Texas this year, right? And we're landing some of these guys that we might not have gotten before. So, I mean, getting into Texas, that's a big deal.
Yeah, man. That is. So they got a question here on the screen. Are any other commits that have not signed? I mean, are there any guys that you guys know that haven't quite signed yet? I don't know of any. I feel like the guys that we've seen that have committed on Twitter that have said, yeah, I'm coming in. Those guys all signed today, but I don't know. Maybe there were some other guys that I missed that we haven't seen come across. Fellas, what have you seen?
They have to be signed today. They don't have to be announced today, right? They have to be signed today. So in the early signing period, we saw Jaden Ayu, for example. He signed on the deadline, right? He signed in that early signing period, but the school didn't announce it until Sunday, which was actually 2 days after the signing period had ended. And so we might have another kid or two that has signed, but I highly doubt it because the school actually tweeted out like, this is our class, we're done. And so I kind of think that for right now, we are done.
Yeah.
Well, and there were already 2 pretty big surprises, at least to me, late additions that we could talk about if we have time in Grimes and Munier, but I think a lot of the surprises are probably already in from what I've seen.
Yeah. Couple more questions here. So Garrett Lee is asking, Izzy Gordon, did he announce where he was signing? I think he did. Didn't he say it was here in Utah? Didn't he announce Brigham Young? Was that where?
He did not announce yet. Not as far as I know. Izzy is actually, he's awesome. He's a superstar from Roy. The kid was just running over people.
From Roy?
Yeah.
Man, what a great place to go to high school, producer Dan.
It is, huh? Yeah. So Izzy Gordon is superstar from Roy, and Weber State has interest. I know that they at least offered a preferred walk-on to him. He also was getting interest from a few other schools, D2 schools, Utah State as well. But last I had heard from Izzy was that he had not made up his decision yet. I know that that Weber State was actually trying to clear up a scholarship at one point, but it's tough, man. You don't have kids who are leaving. We didn't have anybody transferring, and so it's tough. You got to make some decisions. So long story short, Izzy has not announced publicly where he's going yet.
Yeah, man. Because, I mean, That would be really, really big time. Like you said, if he were to announce like, okay, yeah, I'd like to come to Weber State. It's like, that's just one more incredible recruit. And you know how much I love having Roy High guys up on campus, guys. You know how much I love that. So let's take another one of Garrett's questions here. How does this class sit with other FCS schools? And this is something that we talked a little bit with Brian McLaughlin on Monday night about, right? Where it's like, man, we've got a lot of really great talent that's coming in, and I think it got even better today. But based on what you guys have seen on Twitter today, and what we talked about with Brian, what are you thinking? How does our class sit with other classes across the country?
I think that the problem that you have with FCS recruiting is very similar to the problem that Weber State has, right? And that problem is that recruiting sites, recruiting services don't always update who has signed with the schools. And so if you go look at some of the most popular recruiting services out there, Weber State's class looks like it's not that good because we only have one kid that's signed, and then we only have 4 other commits. When in reality, that's not even close to what's gone down, right? I mean, I think the majority of Weber State fans think that this is probably the best recruiting class in Weber State history. But since the recruiting services won't update their stuff, it's going to look like we have the 10th or 11th best class in the Big Sky. And so from a national perspective, we know that Jackson State just cleaned up, right? They were getting all kinds of kids. They were stealing kids from the SEC. So Jackson State, I think, is far and away number one. Weber State, honestly, I would say, I mean, without knowing every school's stuff, I would comfortably say that Weber State's probably got a top 25 class as far as talent goes, maybe even higher than that.
Yeah. AC, you shared something in our Slack channel today about how many of the top 10 recruits of all time, according to 24/7 and the rating sites, things like that, had signed in this class. What was that number?
So top 10 recruits in this class, we have 5 of the top 10 all-time recruits in the class of 21.
So there you go. To me, that's, you're I don't necessarily know in FCS that you're recruiting against the other schools as much as you're recruiting against yourself, right? Your past performance. And this is definitely a good performance.
Yeah. And then another thing that you guys noted was that on top of that, 3 of the all-time top recruits were already on the team. So that brings us what, 8 of the top 10 are currently going to be on the team. Just incredible.
8 of the top 10 will be on the team in the fall, barring transfer or something else, right?
Yeah.
And that's those 8 out of 10. That's not including Jordan Allen, our 4-star transfer from Tennessee, nor is it including Randall Grimes, who just transferred in today. We got the announcement today he went to USC originally and UNLV before that. And those 2, according to 24/7, are the 2 most talented players Weber State has ever had.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got 10 dudes on this team who are all superstars, and they're all on this team at the same time. We're stacked.
Yeah. Well,
hey, so Randall Grimes seems, was probably the biggest surprise of the day. AC, I believe you got to talk to him a little bit. Tell us about that.
Randall Grimes is awesome. Oh my goodness. Awesome guy. Father is in the military, just retired as a police officer. He went to USC out of high school. He's from Las Vegas originally. Good friends with our boy, Eddie Heckard, all conference cornerback, right?
Yep. Love Eddie.
Eddie did a lot of the heavy lifting in the recruiting. And so, I mean, Randall put his name in the transfer portal, and Eddie immediately was like, hey, Randall, why don't you come up here? We got a good culture. And you know what? I got 3 rings on my fingers. So, well, I guess Eddie doesn't, but because he's only a freshman last year. But hey, I mean, we're winning trophies. And so he really wasn't in the transfer portal for very long, a couple weeks. He had offers from Tennessee, Arizona State, and Jackson State. Deion Sanders, Coach Primetime. And guess what? It didn't take him long to decide. He knew right away. He said, guys, I'm in the transfer portal, but I know where I'm going. I'm going to Dub State.
Yeah, and AC, I mean, you were Johnny on the spot with that, because as soon as we got word that Randall was going to transfer to Weber State, man, you were up there, and there's already a piece on our blog talking to him about why he's choosing Weber State and all of those things. So make sure to go to WeberStateWeekly.com and go to our blog and check out that piece, because it's fresh. Like, it is as hot off the press as it can possibly be. Like, that got out like that, lickety split. So kudos to you, AC, on working on that one.
Well,
I also want to take a second.
Go ahead, Colby.
Okay. I was just going to take a second really fast to plug one of our sponsors, wildcatrack.com. Folks, if you're looking for some really interesting and fresh Weber State designs made right here in Weber County, officially licensed. So help support the university. Go check out wildcatrec.com. We have a couple of designs up there right now. Plus, we got a new design that we unveiled on social media today that I think you folks are going to like. So go ahead and check out wildcatrec.com. You can shop and we can ship it right to your door. And also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. A couple of really good places to check out what we got going on and what's coming up. So now, Chappie, you had some thoughts.
Well, I was just going to say the interesting thing to me about Randall Grimes, I mean, the offer list coming out of high school is incredible. The pedigree looks incredible. Sounds like the kid's already been in Ogden. Sounds like he's already in school. If that's correct, that means they're trying to maybe get him to play the spring. That could be really cool.
Randall's in school. Today, I think he said was his third practice, or maybe he's already completed his third practice, and today was his fourth. He told me he's adjusting to the altitude here. He said he's getting used to the breathing up here. But the school said that, or not the school, but Randall said, and it was confirmed later by Jay Hill, that the school is working on getting him a waiver so that he can play in the spring. So, I mean, this spring, we might have Devin Cooley on the outside on one side and Randall Grimes on the outside on the other.
With Randall Johnson on the ball. My goodness, fellas. My goodness.
Well, I mean, look at that receiver room. I mean, since we had Jordan Turner on way back in the fall, we've all just been marveling at what that receiver room and what that talent pool looked like. And we've since added Noah Kerr and Randall Grimes. Like that's incredible. As a quarterback, I don't know how you could ever want more talent around you to pass to than that anywhere. I mean, that adds to David Ames. There's so many talented people on the roster.
Right, because we're not even talking about Rashid Shaheed and David Ames and Ty McPherson. Like we've already got, we got Devin. We already talked about Devin Cooley. Like my goodness, like the guys that are in that room, like fellas, and those are the guys that are going to lead, right? Like we're not even talking about the guys that are coming up behind, like Jordan Turner, who we had on the show. Like that position. It's just really nice to see continued growth there, because I think a lot of people watching Weber State have noted that the offense has lacked explosiveness at times, that it's a thing that has maybe held us back, and especially when you really want to make that deep playoff run. You can't paper over things like that when you're playing good teams like JMU in the playoffs. And so just looking at the guys that are coming in and potentially playing in the spring, along with who's going to be throwing the ball to them, fellas, I'm excited to see what this new offense can do with Coach Matt Hammer at the helm. It's really going to be exciting.
It feels like we're just going to run like 4 and 5 wide, like every play, just to get guys on the field. It's like we're almost going to have to just to spread the ball around. It's impressive.
So something I don't buy, one of the narratives that's out there about Weber State is that the offense is not explosive, right? If you look at our offense last year, we had 2 all-conference running backs, Josh Davis and Kevin Smith, right? And then our third running back was Chris Jackson, who ran for 11 touchdowns. Yep. And then on the outside, you got Devin Cooley, you got David Ames, right? And so this offense had explosive capabilities, and I think that the consensus is that we were a quarterback away. But guess what? We got Randall Johnson this year. We ain't a quarterback away anymore. And so people are saying that this offense wasn't explosive. I don't buy that. I think that's bull crap. I think this offense is explosive, and we were one position away, and I think that we've shored up that position right now.
Yeah.
Well, I said this on Twitter a couple weeks ago. The defense has been the stalwart, the consistent stalwart of Weber State football, right? The defense is always the top dog, but guys, the offense might be better than the defense this year. And that is saying something, because the defense is going to be good.
Yeah. Which, that's unheard of in Ogden, right? Like, no, like the defense always is stout and make sure that they take care of business. And, for you to say that, it's just like, wow. Scott Ritchie, commenting in the feed, the RPO with Johnson and crew is going to be 08 lethal. That was a good 08 team that went to the playoffs. Unfortunately, didn't make it past the Grizz. But my goodness, he's right. That run pass option is going to be something else. Because
I don't think it's going to be 08 lethal. I think it's going to be 21 lethal. I think we're DEFCON 1 right now. Like we're on a different level right now.
Totally true, man. Because that's something. And like we noted, when we were talking to Creighton and Noah, that when we have had a quarterback in the past, and I look to Stephen Cantwell and I say, my goodness, when he was in a pinch, and sometimes it got him in trouble, like in the SUU game in the second quarter where he ended up getting hit and had to come out of the game, but he used his legs so many times to really bail the Wildcats out when there just wasn't anything. Plus, the man had an arm. That guy could throw the ball down the field, and you'd see him, just so many guys would come down and catch the ball just because he'd throw it up there and let them do their work. And so it's just incredible. Let's
to me, it's, we were very new at the playoff game in that 2017 was it game against JMU with Cantwell and leading the offense and everything that happened. I don't think we realized how good we had at almost winning that game. Yeah, and it's going to be exciting to hopefully get back there, because I think we were too quote unquote young in the Weber State being good cycle to realize exactly what that all meant.
Yeah,
Jeff, I'm going to chime in there. I had along the same lines as what Jeff said with the quarterback position. I had an interesting conversation with a very prominent national writer, and he was saying, well, you guys are probably going to sign a ton of people in this upcoming signing period, huh? And I said, no, not really, because we don't have anybody transferring out. But guess what? We got a new quarterback. I started talking about the quarterback, and this writer says, he kind of pauses for about 2-3 seconds, and he said, wait a second. Y'all might just go to Frisco this year. Like, this isn't us. This isn't Weber State Weekly saying this. This is someone else who doesn't have a horse in the race, right?
Yeah.
So, like, people are starting to take notice. We got Randall Johnson now. We're recruiting on a different level. We didn't sign a ton of kids, but we signed talented kids. And that might be the next step to take us to Texas.
Yeah, very, very, very skilled kids, man. And like Chappie said earlier, like when you have had that talent, and like you said, in 2017, when you had that group of guys on the offense who could really deliver, you could see what could happen, because defense is always a thing, but then you've got an offense that can punch above its weight. And, JMU, they were the reigning champs that year, and we gave them all they wanted. And so looking forward to having that kind of offense again and to really see what the Wildcats can do, because, in some of these games that we've had in the past, it's really been a liability.
Well, just building toward that is fun to me. I mean, the success, there's of course, I know Tom Lakey's watching, and he's been a fan of Weber State for years, and Scott Ritchie, all these guys, these guys have been fans for a long time, and so have I. But the success is a funny thing, because generally there are levels, right? There are times when it happens like instantly, like. And people are going to hate me for this, but you have like the Killers, where you release Hot Fuss as your first album, and it's one of the greatest albums of all time.
Got his mic.
and where do you go from there, right? But like the success under Jay Hill came really quickly, and I think a lot of us maybe didn't realize, like the year that we had home field advantage through the playoffs, and the year that we took JMU all the way to the end of the fourth quarter, losing the game, I don't think we realized just how special those moments were and just how impactful those were until we look back and go, okay, but how do we do that again? Because that's hard. I mean, the thing about sports, any sports, is that you never realize that the good times are the good times until it's not the good times anymore.
Yeah, man. Like Tom's saying here, get your tickets to Frisco. Chappie's buying the barbecue.
I'm sold. I wasn't sold before, but now that it's free barbecue, I'm in. Let's go,
guys. I'm looking forward to just doing brisket like this spring. If I'm by myself and I can't even go into the stadium, I'm gonna just sit out there by myself and just hand brisket to people that are the ushers and anybody else that wants to come see me outside the front gate.
We need you in Tailgating Weber, that Twitter account, Tailgating Weber, to partner up, huh? Let's go, Chappie and Tailgating Weber.
I'm down.
Yeah, fellas, I think that's something I really hope that we can see here, because we talked about Weber State Weekly being out there for pregame, us having a presence out there in the north parking lot of Stewart Stadium, doing a little bit of tailgating, begin to have a little bit of those conversations, build that culture. Because I mean, if you were out there for the last 2 seasons, you'd notice that like sometimes there would be away teams that had more people out there tailgating than we had Weber State fans tailgating. So I think we're going to change that this spring and into the fall, and I think we can do it safely. So looking forward to seeing some guys out there. tailgating, cooking some food, talking some football. Maybe probably going to be doing some live streams like this from the stadium before we head in and watch the Wildcats smash whoever they put in front of us. But let's move on. Let's talk about some other guys, because we got some kids that signed as well today. And one of those kids that I think I tweeted this out was a very pleasant surprise was a tight end out of Rathdrum, Idaho, Ammon Munyer. AC, you want to talk a little bit about who Ammon Munyer is and why this was a huge pickup for the Wildcats?
Can we just call our friends at Tubbs at the Club real quick and ask them to tell us about Ammon Munyer? Chris Hammond, are you on?
Chris is
are you
watching.
listening?
He's watching.
Are you watching? Chris, tell me about Ammon Munyer. No, I'm kidding. So Ammon Munyer had an offer from everybody in the Big Sky.
Yeah.
He had an offer from all the Montana schools, Idaho, Northern Arizona. He had offers from Air Force. He had Army was talking to him. Charlotte was talking to him. And early on in the process, around about October, he was on record saying, yeah, I'm kind of looking at Charlotte, Montana State right now. Those are kind of the two big schools. And then late November, Weber State is the last school to offer him a scholarship. And what did he do? He ended up taking it. And so to me, what does that say? That says that Ammon Munyer had his eyes on Weber State the entire time and was just waiting. He was just waiting. This kid, let me tell you about him. He played tight end and defensive end in each game of the entire season this last year. He's the number 2 ranked prospect out of the entire state of Idaho. He's the number 1 ranked tight end prospect out of the entire state of Idaho. I know a lot of people are upset saying that we don't utilize our tight ends correctly. Maybe we didn't have the right guys. Who knows? But now guess what? We got Jordan Allen coming in. Ammon Munyer's going to go on a 2-year LDS mission. He's going to come back from that. And after Jordan Allen's gone, we're going to reload with Ammon Munyer, the best prospect in Idaho, a prospect that everybody in the Big Sky wanted, and Weber State got him. So this kid, he's got a good frame, 6'5", 225. He's got good hands, super athletic enough to play both sides of the ball. So this is a guy that Weber State fans can get excited about, and he's going to be joining us fall of 2023.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, you gotta have a kid with a big frame who can take the blocks, but also go catch the ball. And like I always say, guys, I'm looking for another Andrew Vollert. We get another Andrew Vollert, because if we do, good things are going to happen.
So to me, it's an interesting recruiting battle on this one, because it wasn't against BYU or Utah that we were recruiting against, or Utah State, or some of the other schools to the south. It was all the other Big Sky schools, which quite frankly is a little bit rare. And not to say that we don't recruit against the other Big Skies. We do against SUU and some of their schools, but it's not very often that we are recruiting head to head with Montana State, Eastern Washington, and Idaho all in the same place. Like they're usually it's a different recruiting ring, if you were, up there. So it's interesting to see this, and interesting to see that we were able to pull this kid out. I frankly just love a kid named Ammon playing football at Weber State. He's going to cut the arms off of all the linebackers that try to defend him, and it's going to be a great thing to see.
Oh man, he had to go there.
Is that a 15-yard penalty?
Cut the mic now.
Yes.
Let's see, guys. I mean, so like you said, getting Ammon Munyer was a huge pickup, and like AC mentioned, that a couple of years when he comes back off his mission, we'll be primed because Jordan Allen will be there, and he'll be moving on, and it'll be time for some Ammon Munyer. So let's dig into this a little bit more. We've talked about Randall. We've talked about this is another one that I wanted to bring up, guys. And so let's do this. I want to talk about Trevian Tribble. Let's talk about Trevian, because my goodness, this man, something else. AC, you're the Mel
guy. My guy, I love him.
So let's talk about Trevian.
I love him. So he says, I actually had some troubles with it. He says his name is Travion, but he goes by Trey. So if you look at his Twitter handle, he goes by Trey, and he's a baller. Here's a guy that can do it all. He played quarterback at Kaiser High School, Fontana, California. He also played a little bit of defensive back, and Weber State was in some competition, right? San Jose State, who's recently come to national prominence, top 25 team, Mountain West Conference champion, San Jose State Spartans, competing against Weber State. And guess what? We won. We won that battle. And so he's going to come to Weber State. He's probably going to be playing safety for us, defensive back safety. But as a quarterback, I can tell you this guy put up some serious numbers. Put up 2,400 passing yards, and guess what? He also matched that 2,400 rushing yards. So he's got really good vision. And you know what? He does it all in baseball too. He's a baseball player at Kaiser High School, and he ended up settling in center field, but he did everything but pitch and catch. He played 7 positions. So this guy, he just does it all. He kind of wanted to play offense coming out of high school, but you know what? He loved what Weber State was doing. He loved what Weber State was selling him on. And so they're going to give him a go at defensive back, and he's super excited to do it. His athleticism is something that he prides himself on. And so he's gonna do everything. He's got 4.4 speed too. This is another guy. The FCS speed, that's a myth. Because Weber State's got Rashid Shaheed, Kevin Smith, we got Jalon Rock, Travian Tribble, who are all burners, all 4.4 or faster speed. And this guy, he's going to bring a lot of speed to us. He's going to bring a winning mentality. He didn't even play the second half of almost every single game this year because his team was winning every game by 29 points. So his stats, when you look at his stats, they don't really jump out because he was sitting on the bench for the second half of the entire season. I'm really excited to see what this kid's going to do for us in the fall.
Yeah, man, because like you said, 2,400 rushing yards as a quarterback, like on top of, throwing the ball 2,400 yards. Like, I mean, and that's not playing second halves. Like, this man is dangerous. My goodness. And like you said, he's going to be out there, sounds like as a safety. You got to have speed. And I mean, if they're putting him in center field, you got to have speed out there too. My man, Lorenzo Kane, for the Milwaukee Brewers, he's got the speed. And so, yeah, it's good to hear that, like, man, that secondary is just going to keep getting better in Ogden.
I love athletes. It is fun when you have an athlete. I mean, you guys all saw the announcement of the new NCAA or EA Sports college football game that's going to come out yesterday. We were all excited. Any of you that played that game over the last 20 years, the athletes were like the secret to the game because you could get them and put them exactly where they needed to go and where they fit your team best. And this kid definitely seems like that. But to bring it a little bit more relevant, there's 2 schools that I know of that are very good at recruiting athletes and turning them into what the school needs it to be, and that is TCU and Utah. They both do that quite frequently. Will recruit kids that are just pure athletes and help them develop into the position that they need to be to help the school and to help themselves. And this kid, to me, fits that mold. It's exciting to see because he's going to do some really, really great things, and the versatility is going to help us out a lot.
All right. Well, fellas, we got a couple of other players that we can shout out here. Anybody else stand out to UAC before we wrap this one up?
Yeah, I got a couple guys. So
Okay.
I think we have to talk about Damon Bankston.
Yeah.
Guy, I'm telling you, he's out of Houston, Texas area. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of his high school, but he's 5'11", about 185. The kid, I mean, he's not the biggest running back, but the thing about him, when you watch his film, he just bounces off guys. He knows how to get his shoulder pads lower than everybody else's shoulder pads, and so he bounces off of them. And then guess what? Once he bounces off them, creates some extra space, he's got that home run speed. You look at this guy's his stats. He's averaging 163 yards a game. Every time he touched the ball, he's averaging 8.9 yards a carry. So you hand it off to him, it's almost a first down every single time you hand it off to him. Damon Banks, he knows how to use the leverage. He's got the speed. He was a returner too for him. He was an MVP down in the Houston area. And guess what? There's a ton of talent down in Houston, but he stuck out enough to be named MVP down there. So Damon Bankston, he's going to be a workhorse for this team. We got a stable of running backs, and guess what? We got a new toy in Damon Bankston. Super excited to see what he can do coming to us in the fall.
Yeah, because like you noted, Weber State's had some pretty good success with guys, running backs who maybe some considered, undersized. Like I think about Josh Davis. Josh Davis was a guy who didn't get maybe a lot of looks from programs that I think probably felt that, oh, he's too small. And then he comes to Weber State, and look what the man has done. He's been absolutely incredible. And so that doesn't make me balk at all to the fact it's like, oh, maybe he's not, 5'11", 185. It's like, no, man, I've seen my man Josh Davis, and I know what a guy like that can do. And so I look forward to seeing Damon Bankston take the field and show us his moves. Chappie, what about you?
Yeah, so I'm gonna give a shout out to my brothers, the linemen. What was the thing that Brian McLaughlin said about North Dakota State again the other day when he was on our show, and that was North Dakota State knows what they do really well, which is get linemen in there that will sit for 3 years to wait to block for a guy like Trey Lance. I thought it in the fall. I thought it now. I love that we are manning up at the offensive line position and really at the defensive line too. But I love getting linemen. And when we get big linemen, it's a great thing. They do good stuff on the field.
It's true. I mean, that's something that, I think that we got a lot more of in the signing period, but a lot of really talented offensive linemen have signed up to join the Wildcats. And we talked about those the last time we did one of these broadcasts about how, just that position, that O-line is really going to be pretty incredible in the future. And it's already pretty good because we've seen what they can do. And man, with a guy like Damon Bankston behind him, just run between the tackles, maybe getting himself. Maybe he doesn't get 8.9 yards. Maybe he only gets 7. Oh shucks!
Well, to me, the line's important too, because if we look at Weber State's big games the last few years, we've already mentioned the quarterback play. That tended to be, it felt like, where we fell short, but it also felt like we had a hard time running the ball as well. Our offense became a little bit one-dimensional and relying on the running game. And if you're going to do that, you have to have very, very large and good linemen to be able to do that. And I always go back to 2 seasons ago, the FBS games. When passing got shut down, we had to run, and we couldn't run because our line wasn't quite big enough to handle the FBS lines of SDSU and Nevada that season. It manifested itself again as we got into the playoffs and played folks like JMU. I'm excited for us to get kids like Luke Sampson and Cole Castro, and who's our other one here that we have?
Lavaca
T, right? We're going to try to pronounce that last name. Hopefully he can tell us how to pronounce that. But getting guys online, getting those hogs, that makes an absolutely huge difference to a team.
Our offensive line, guess what? We just signed an entire new offensive line. We got 5 new linemen, all of them from Utah, all of them all-state or MVP kids. Every single one of them. Jake Eichhorn, Brennan Mangum, and Luke Sampson, both of them out of Corner Canyon, who are protecting the player of the year in Jackson Dart, national player of the year. Then we got Cole Casto out of Brighton, who's another all-state kid. And we got Lavaca. And let me tell you something about Lavaca. We were talking about FCS speed earlier. Let's talk FCS size. You want to talk FCS size? Let's talk FCS size. So Lavaca, 6'5", 342. This guy is huge. So I'm telling you, he's like the Hulk. And
massive,
I talked to him the other day. I asked him, well, do you like run blocking or pass blocking better? And he says, I like run blocking because I can get more aggressive. Let me tell you, if I'm lined up across from that guy and he says he wants to get aggressive, I'm gonna take that down off. I'm not even gonna try. He's gonna be a stud for us. He loves run blocking, and we love running the football.
Yeah, that's perfect, right? That's perfect for what goes on in Ogden.
AC, you mentioned something that I'll just mention real quick. How funny is it how many kids we pulled from Corner Canyon? I don't know what the final number was, but it's a lot. And some people are like,
we got 3.
Yeah, this people are like, why is that? What does that mean? And it means we have a good relationship is what it does. But more than that, it's like that's a good team. That's a many-time state champion team. And when you have connections to those teams and those coaches, and you're pulling kids from those schools, it's a program thing, and that is nothing but good for Weber State.
Corner Canyon, 8th in the nation, had 3 first-team All-Americans. One of them just signed with Oregon. Another one signed with USC, and guess where the other one went? Ogden, Utah, Weber State.
Yeah. I also want to point out that this is for producer Dan, that there was a time when Jackson Dart was he was wearing the black and gold in her Heron Roy. So just want to point that out for Dan. That's for him. But like Brett mentioned, we've talked a lot about offensive line here, and now, we're also looking back at guys that had already signed, like Braden Shipp, like Brent's saying, came back home off of a mission, was committed to Boise State, decided, maybe that's not the thing I want to do. I want to come to Ogden. And, there's a guy who was committed to an FBS school and decided to come up to Ogden, has seen the campus. We talked a little bit about that in the early signing period, and just what a what a stacked group of guys, man. I think that's, I feel like, been the theme of this entire show is stacked group of guys, stacked group of guys, stacked group of guys.
How crazy is it? How crazy is it? That's where we are as a program. That is such a cool feeling. You know, I mean, I love it. It's absolutely phenomenal.
And at offensive line, you've got Brent Myers, who many, not just one person, many people believe he's the best offensive line coach in all of FCS. And so he's got all these new toys. I'm telling you, I can't even think about what he's thinking, how excited he is with this new group of kids. We got Luke Sampson. I want to talk about Luke Sampson for just a second. He's left tackle, protecting the blind side for the National Player of the Year, Jackson Dart. Luke Sampson had FCS offers. He had 2 scholarship offers, Idaho State and SUU. And guess what? He turned both down because he said, I want to walk on at Weber State because I want to win. I want to be a winner. That's where we are as a program. Could we have done that 5 years ago? Could we have done it 10 years ago? We're at a different stage now. People got to realize this. Weber State is recruiting with the big boys. Luke Sampson's another piece of that. He's more proof showing that we are on a different level than we've ever been before.
Chappie, your thoughts?
No, I agree. I mean, I don't think you could ask for more. It's really cool. It is a good time to be a Weber State Wildcat fan. It's a good time to be a Weber State Wildcat football fan. All of us out there need to bask in the glory of this while we still have it. And I'll make that kind of my final note. Gentlemen, how cool is this that we get to do this, right? I mean, all of us got together almost a year ago. In fact, it was the 3 of us. And we kind of hatched the idea for Weber State Weekly, and the whole idea was, dang it, man, these guys deserve to be covered, and it deserves to feel like the coverage is professional and it feels relevant, and we deserve in-depth breakdown because you weren't going to hear it on 1280 or on KSL or anywhere else, and so we just decided to do it ourselves, and here we are a year later, and man, it is so much fun. I hope anybody watching this and anybody out there taking this in now or later realizes just how much we enjoy doing this, but also how fun it is to get this much information as a Weber State athletics fan, because this is not, I don't think this was stuff that's been out there and coverage that's been provided ever in the history of the school, and they deserve it.
Definitely. AC, what about you? You got some final thoughts before we wrap up tonight?
You know what? I'll tell you what makes it fun is these kids, right? These kids who are signing with Weber State. We've got the best. And I'm not saying it to get clicks. I'm not saying it to get hits. I'm saying it because I believe it. I'm going to say it with my chest. We got the best recruiting class in Weber State history wrapped up today. And I'm so stoked. I'm having such a good time. I'm with Chappie. It's awesome being a part of Weber State Weekly. And it's these athletes who deserve the coverage, who deserve the attention, that make Weber State Weekly so much fun, that make covering these guys so much fun. And I hope that our listeners, I hope that our readers are enjoying this as much as we are. Because let me tell you what, I love it. And the fact that I've said it before, we're in the golden age of Weber State athletics. It's not going to get a whole lot better than right now. We got teams that are nationally ranked across the board. We got teams competing for Big Sky championships. And let me tell you something, Weber State Weekly is going to be there to bring it all to you. We're going to be here for you.
Yep. Like AC said, I mean, great squad in volleyball. We just got the softball team was just ranked #1 in preseason coaches poll or preseason poll. You know, we got a great hoops team that's going to get a really good challenge this week against Montana State in the Purple Palace. This football team is looking better than it's ever looked. Like everywhere you look on campus, there's this competition, and it's so great to be a Wildcat right now.
Cross country,
so
nationally
fellas,
ranked.
With that, let's cross country as well. You know, so just so many good things going on up on campus. Pay attention, get your tickets, support the school however you can. Really appreciate you. We should note, guys, and Tom Leakey noted this in the comment on Facebook. 24 days until game day. See everyone in Pocatello up at the worst facility in the Big Sky Conference. I'll say that every single time. Sorry, ISU fans. Holt Arena's garbage. So we'll go up there and we'll stomp those guys, and then we'll see them back at Stewart Stadium.
Don't be sorry.
Hey, not only that, guys. We get to watch basketball tomorrow. We can go if we're good enough to get tickets. It's all coming back. It's there.
It's true. That is something we found out this week, that they're having tickets. I mean, if you want to get in, you can get in. So call up the ticket office and see if they got something for you, because if you're interested, put on your mask and go out there and support the Wildcats.
Frankly, I'm just really happy to hopefully be able to take my girls to a game and hear comments from the crowd, hear the cheering, and hear guys like Jeff Millard yell at the refs and make us all proud.
Yeah. Hey, Brent, we appreciate that, man. All-American status, man. We appreciate that. So with that, fellas, I think we're going to wrap it up here. Looking forward to this weekend. The Wildcats are going to be taking on Montana State, and so we'll see how that goes. But we'll wrap it up like we usually do, and we'll say, Weber State, Weber State.
Great.
Great.
Great. Go Wildcats.